6 of the NGK Superbike series, over 10 laps of the Oran Park circuit, with one heat already contested today. The new points are Michael Cole on 132 points, leads Rob Phillis on 125, then Paul Walkley, Paul Feeney, Tyne, Andrew Johnson, of course, who isn't here, so retains his 47 points from previous rounds, then Manny Blanco and Simon Jones in 8th position.
Question mark, I suppose, is whether Walkley here can repeat the great start that he got in the first heat, and then the determination he showed over Mick Cole and Rob Phillis.
Phillis riding better, I think, than he's ever ridden before in Australia. His visit recently to Japan to contest the Suzuka 200 has given him heaps of confidence. He leaves Sydney on Wednesday to go back to Japan to commence testing for the Suzuka 8-hour on July the 31st, a race in which he will co-ride with Graham Crosby, and already he's been invited back to Japan again in September for a Formula One race supporting the Japanese Grand Prix.
Yes,
and it looks very much like next year Rob Phillis has an international career in front of him.
Yes, and he senses that, and he's playing to it. I think suddenly he wants to be very consistent, very smooth and safe, but quick. Because once you get over there, there's no point in being a one-race hero. You've got to serve up the goods, keeping your machinery and yourself in place weekend after weekend. So they line up for this 10-lap, 26.2 kilometre second heat of the 6th round of the NGK Superbike series. An outstandingly fast, powerful and good series, hotly contested for 83.
Phillis and Cole side by side on the front row of the grid. Cole holding back just a little bit back, and away he goes, and Phillis dumps it at the start and really blows the start and drops right back through the field.
Jeff Thin leads the field from the outside of the front row on 2. Then it's Walkley. He blasts through and he takes the lead, and in behind him is Malcolm Campbell, who didn't go so well in the first heat. 19 there, jumping through to is Emmanuel Blanco. So very interesting, with a fine start to Walkley. I think Cole clearing from the bunch and starting to get into about the first 5. But Malcolm Campbell, having got a much better start, will be critical too. And safety. See it again. As off the bridge and approaching the S's, the field streams. Paul Walkley, Malcolm Campbell, Kawasaki, Honda, in a race that finally, the first one dominated by Suzuki. 05, Michael Cole.
Here's the crash right in the middle of the field, as the bike simply lets go on the slippery track. Unfortunately, the slipperiness carries him right out of the way of the packed field behind him. That could have been very nasty indeed. The race leader, Walkley, behind him, Wally Go Bananas, Malcolm Campbell from Victoria, and behind him, Michael Cole.
Or another way of looking at it is Kawasaki, Honda, Suzuki. Followed further back by Jeff Thin, who got the jump from the start in first gear, but very quickly was vanquished. Walkley, I think, is going to be very hard to toss. 1000cc Kawasaki, 860cc Honda, 1000cc Suzuki. Walkley well up in the point score, but Campbell nowhere, and so he really can go for the glory in this heat and for the placing, whereas Cole particularly must think of the series. To a lesser extent, Walkley must also, but Campbell, for all that he's down on capacity, is, as you can see, pulling ground everywhere on Walkley.
Campbell crashed his bike very heavily in the 5th round of the series at Winton several weeks ago, as now he pulls out of the Kawasaki slipstream, can't do it, and gets straight back into the slipstream again. And here comes Robbie Phillis down the outside and taking over 6th position from bike 4, Rod Cox.
I think 4th. taking Thin back to 5th on 2, and Rod Cox 6th on 4. There you have the leading 6. Phillis on a mission to break from that pair, get up with this trio. And he's thrown away 2 precious laps in which to do it. There's the gap. Well, at this stage, after having a lap or so ago said that Walkley looked good, I reckon at this stage we've got any one of at least 3 potential race winners, as Campbell blasts Walkley and shows the handling of the Honda. My goodness, through very tight twisty stuff, he just walked that in.
Looks for the way.
Tremendous ground clearance on the Honda, which is one of its big advantages.
That's Cole. Can't do it against the Kawasaki. Tucks back into the slipstream again. Then behind, low ranges up Rob Phillis, coming right up onto Cole now.
He's made a lot of ground and very quickly. Thin, Rod Cox.
Cole goes for second spot and gets it. And loses it again.
And Campbell really...
And there goes Cole!
It's all right, and he knows it.
And that's blown the series lead, apart from anything else, for Mick Cole on bike 05. As now Robbie Phillis moves up into second position.
No, he's third behind Walkley, and then Campbell in front. There's Campbell, Phillis third, Walkley second. And they're on lap
4. Campbell looks anxiously behind him. Phillis now takes over second position from Walkley.
Campbell, Phillis, Walkley. Should be Thin, Rod Cox. That's not an adjective to use to describe Rod Cox. Number
Yellow.
2 is Jeff Thin, 4 is Rod Cox in 5th.
Yellow flag is out for Mick Cole's crash. Just out of our sight there.
Wally Campbell, very much an athlete. A lot of certainly racing drivers, to a lesser extent riders, are not athletes, particularly strong or fit, and that says it all about Mick Cole's bike. He's taken the tyre off both rims, but Campbell is a very muscled, very fit-looking 32-year-old.
Here comes Phillis. Works V4 860 Honda versus 130 horsepower of locally built Suzuki with Yoshimura parts, and it's Rob Phillis out to take the lead. 1000 cc's against 860. And Malcolm Campbell back to second position, and a sure, confident Rob Phillis takes over the lead in the NGK race and in the NGK series.
Still Paul Walkley holding on to third place, but being strongly threatened by the rider on 2, Jeff Thine from Victoria. Thin. Behind them is Rod Cox on 4. Cox's bike similar but locally built to the one that Malcolm Campbell's on, number 3. Campbell's one built at the factory, and Honda race bikes really are very expensive. Even when they sell to Honda affiliates.
The race for third position.
Kawasaki from Honda. Rod Cox, the clean-skinned, mild-mannered looking young man who started off on 250 production bikes, went up to the unlimited capacity production bikes, and who now is making a very promising debut in recent times in Superbikes. Very confident. Leading pair go out of the foreground.
Then comes out to take it and does so, but goes wide and loses 2 places, which just goes to prove you can't afford to take an unconsidered risk, an ill-considered risk the way he did then.
It was very badly thought out. He sailed up to the corner at enormous speed, but forgot all about apexes and proved yet again fast in, slow out, or the proper way, slow in, fast out.
Cox now starts to throw out the challenge on Paul Walkley. Cox, a very aggressive rider. And pulls out of the slipstream. Can't do it again. Covered very well indeed.
I think Jeff Thinn's lost the heart for this battle. He's prepared to watch it and hope that perhaps one or both might come unstuck. I don't think he wants any part of it.
On their 8th lap of a 10-lap event. Rob Phillis, with Malcolm Campbell right behind him. Campbell certainly not making the task easy for Rob Phillis. The Honda team won the 3rd round of the series at Winton some months ago, but were protested out by the Suzukis on the basis that their front forks did not represent the silhouette of a standard production motorcycle. Caused Honda to withdraw from the 4th round here at Oran Park until they fixed the alleged problem.
Interesting new bike, almost ready for release in Japan, is said to be a 1000cc version.
Oh, and there's a bike
of
down.
That, and that's Walkley.
That's Walkley.
That's 03. So Rod Cox now untroubled. Jeff Thinn comes up to 4th on 2 as Phillis and Malcolm Campbell, with enormous grip and handling and ability to change direction easily through that corner, puts an enormous amount of pressure on Phillis. It goes under him. My goodness me, breathtaking stuff. Coming up to the blue flag. And that was a heart stopper, and Phillis reckons that was too. And Malcolm Campbell thumps it down onto the stops and the throttle, as you could see. And if he'd had a rear vision mirror, he'd love to have seen Phillis get crossed up there, because that just would have made him put on a bit more pressure and a bit more spurt. He doesn't know that Phillis nearly lost it. Phillis now pulling the brain back together, calming himself, getting it all into perspective. Look at him sizing up, going for a nice wide entry, thinking. Campbell scratching a bit. Last lap was 17.4 compared with Phillis's lap record 16.9. Campbell starting to look good now. Half a lap through the S's, where his bike is good. BP is the only danger area, and Phillis knows he must be much closer than that to make anything of it, and the section doesn't suit his bike.
Here comes Phillis.
How did he get there? Campbell's only got to squeeze him and run wide, and he's got it. And indeed, that's what he does.
Now wait for it. Oh, and only just Malcolm Campbell from Rob Phillis. And in third position, Rod Cox on bike 4. And Rob Phillis moves to the lead on 137 points from Michael Cole, 132. Packed grid for the Revs Motorcycle News 350cc Australian Road Race Championship.